dear colleagues, dear Metro heroes, welcome to our brand new episode of More Podcast. Yeah, we want to accompany you and give you orientation on the new ways of working with our podcast. A warm welcome to all of you. My name is Bernd Rodde from Internal Communications at Metro AG. This episode is about United, our internal social media platform for networking and sharing knowledge with fellow colleagues. Exactly what we need most at this time. And on this topic, I would like to welcome Elisabeth Hesse. Hello, Elisabeth.
Hallo, Bernd.
Yeah, as head of internal communications at Metro AG, you are not only my boss, but also responsible for United, among many other things. So thank you for coming here today to the Metro campus in Düsseldorf. We are sitting here at the Düsseldorf campus in our so-called silent lounge. And listen. Yeah, you can't hear anything. It's actually completely silent all over the campus, which is mainly due to the fact that only about 10% of the employees are working here on the campus at the moment. Elisabeth, it's not always so quiet at your place at home, isn't it?
I wish I had a silent lounge at home. Yes, I'm one of those who is sitting at home, of course, trying to combine home office and homeschooling. My husband is also working at home, and my son, he's 7, he's having his first video conferences at his school.
How does a typical day in the home office look like for you?
Well, I try to keep a daily routine, so I get up at 6:30, like I used to do. I get ready, I check my first emails. Then, important now for Corona, I have got a daily check-in in written form on Teams with my team to get the main topics for the day, to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Yes, then either my husband or myself, we are supporting our son with the homeschooling. I've got many meetings, many video meetings, trying also to work on concepts, etc. In communications, a day is not always so predictable. Sometimes I don't know exactly what will happen during the day. So it's fully packed, but it's working. It's okay.
Yeah, it's pretty similar also for me, and I also work from home a lot. And fortunately, all the tools also work wonderfully from home, including United, of course. And Elisabeth, you will tell us more about the innovations on United that will make life and especially work easier for all of us. I'm looking forward to it. But first, at this point in our podcast, we want to talk about the experience of our guests for whom working lives have changed so much in the past few months. And we want to follow the question, how were they dropped into this new way of working from one day to the next, and what they learned about themselves, for example. We do that in every episode of More Podcast with our little questionnaire called Try New Things. Elisabeth, you just briefly told us that you now work almost completely at home, try new things. What have you tried new since you started working from home?
Well, from a job perspective, I think what's new is that I use video chats much more. So actually, I don't phone up anyone anymore. I directly go into a video call. So this way, I met already lots of new people from around Metro in the last months by video chat, which is much nicer in a way. So I think the telephone is something of the past in a way. Privately, I tried out new things. I do home sports. So you can imagine my husband, my son and myself in the living room trying to do some sports. The good thing is my husband and my son are still doing it. The bad thing is I kind of dropped out. But maybe the challenge for 2021 is to keep on doing this.
Okay, that's your challenge. And what are your personal learnings from the new way of working?
I think working remotely is much more difficult because the line between your working life and your private life is completely blurred. So my learning is I need a structure for the day, for my family, but also for my job. I, for example, realized that many people started to send me invites for 12:30 for lunchtime for video meetings. So I now decline these meetings. I put in a blocker in my Outlook calendar to make sure that I don't get any invites, because I have to go and do my cooking and shopping and have a lunch break somehow. Eating is important. Days where I completely forgot to eat. Other days add the wrong things. So I think that for me, the structure and this discipline also to keep up the structure is important. And my learning from the first lockdown is also to put my family first and not metro all the time. To make sure that there is a Feierabend, as we call it in German, and there is time for the family.
Yeah, that sounds good. And what bothers you? What do you miss most in Flex Office?
Well, I think that's what everyone misses is really the direct, personal, meetings with team members, with colleagues, with my team, but with the entire corporate comms teams, also with other colleagues at the campus. Usually you go into the canteen, you see people, you wave to people, you remember also things you wanted to talk about. So I miss this, also the little chat at the coffee machine, etc. That's what I miss. But I also like working at home. To be honest, I'm one of the many commuters coming from Cologne to Düsseldorf every day. So it has also some good things, of course.
Okay, you told us already about your the structure and that food is and having lunchtime is very important for you. Do you have another life hack for working in Flex Office?
Well, I mentioned the food and the structure. Sometimes I don't have the structure, so I think it's fully fair enough also to go for a takeaway. Not just supporting yourself with food, but also supporting our customers. Takeaways have increased in our home.
Food is often a really good solution. Okay, Elisabeth, now we know how you are doing in your home office and what you're thinking about it. And according to your personal experience in that regard, you brought us something very special, a little souvenir. We'll get to that later toward the end of the podcast. But now we want to talk about the tool we all work with every day, where we inform ourselves and network with colleagues. United, our social intranet at Metro. I think for many of us, United is an important anchor to stay in touch with our colleagues in these times. But first, a general question, Elisabeth. How did United develop recently during the COVID crisis?
Well, United is our social intranet, and actually it's a place to connect, to get information, to share best practices, to meet other colleagues. So what we have seen over the last months that actually United has become much more important as our global platform where we are united.
And in that regard, I think United does also play a big role regarding community building, isn't it?
Exactly. So what we have seen, especially now during the Corona time, is that it's not the platform to exchange information and to get the latest company news, but also it's an exchange of emotions in a way. It's our social intranet, meaning it really needs the interaction of everyone using it. And we see an increase of the engagement, meaning the likes, the number of comments. And not that just this, also the international mix has risen. So there are much more colleagues from around the world using and participating on United.
And what requirements do the people in the countries have in terms of networking and collaboration?
What is required is really to fill this digital gap, I call it, between the head offices and the stores. I mean, we have our colleagues in the head office working, sitting in front of a computer all day long. They have access to United. That's not a problem. But the majority of our Metro heroes are obviously in the stores. They don't have this direct contact to United and take part in discussions and to get the company news, etc. So there's a stronger need now also with Corona, to fill this gap and to connect our colleagues much more strongly on country and on company level.
So the requirements are quite diverse, and what conclusions have you drawn from these requirements to further develop the United platform for the future?
Yes, so has always been in the last years the call for an employee app, for an easy app that people can use on private devices. And we said, okay, before we install yet another tool, which has no interfaces with United or with Teams or whatsoever, let's use United, of course, and to see if we can open it up and put it into the internet. And actually, that's what we did. The requirements to do it were, of course, to negotiate with the colleagues from IT security, with data protection, and the Workers' Council. These negotiations were all done in the summer. So we had a quick solution, and now we were able to say, okay, now United is available on private devices. Every Metro hero, every Metro colleague in the world can log in to United on a private device by using the Windows login, of course, and by using the two-factor authentication. This is a requirement because obviously we don't want that, non-Metro colleagues have access to our corporate intranet.
So that really sounds like some kind of revolution regarding our internal communication. So I would like to focus once more on this point. So how can you use United in the future, and how does it really work in detail?
Well, actually, what happened in terms of technology, and I'm not the expert. I mean, we have the experts with our colleagues in Metro Digital, namely Thomas Lau and his team, the United team. They all did this work, and I thank them really a great deal. The Metro firewall was open so that actually access to United with the login data of Metro is possible from outside. This means you can download the United app from, at the moment, from the Apple App Store, and in future also from the Google App Store on your private device. Or you can use any other private device, your laptop, your tablet at home. And you need your Windows login, and every colleague has a Windows login. Maybe some colleagues are not aware of it, but they have it, and they get it from their local IT. In case they don't know it. And then they need to register with the two-factor authentication. This seems to be a little bit of a hurdle, but it's needed because the times are over where you just had your Windows login and an ordinary password. That is not enough anymore. Hackers, etc. And that is a requirement, not just for United, by the way, but for any Metro application that will be opened up on private devices. And then you are on it, and you can use United as you can use it on a computer. United has not changed, it's the same technology, the same system, the same content, but the way you can access it has changed. And we hope, of course, that more and more, especially our colleagues in the stores, will use United. It's secure, it's flexible, you can use it, as we say, anywhere and anytime, and it's voluntary. So that's an important point to stress. It's not required to use United for your daily work, but to say, okay, if you want to keep track with company news, if you want to take part in also community building activities like we have done recently with our New Gather with a Smile campaign, or with our guiding principles, etc. You can use United on your private device, and you can take part.
So really United for all, for each person, for each Metro hero in our company. And what strategic target is behind all of this move? So how can United help us in the future to strengthen even more our collaboration, networking, or building up a strong community?
In a company, you need a digital tool, an intranet for pure information about the company. That's one thing. But with United 5 years ago, we decided also to include the social interaction, the social features. That's why it's a social intranet. And the social intranet is better the more people really participate in it. So it's not just really top down. You get the information about the company. That's still a big part, but it's also about getting connected. And this connectivity is important to connect our global workforce, also in the sense of our guiding principles and of our new way of togetherness, which we call New Gather. And also it's a strong part of new ways of working, even though, as I said, it's not maybe just the working part, but it's this being united part that is important for United, for all Metro heroes.
And Metro heroes, if you need more information, it's the best to go on the United support page. There you will find lots of explanations, tutorials, and a detailed FAQ list, Elisabeth. And you have also compiled very special information for colleagues who are new to United, for example, store employees. So please tell us, where can they find help?
Yes, we have created an info page, which is also in the internet. It's info.metro-united.com. It's in English and German. And then, of course, for employees in the countries, please liaise with your local IT and your local communications teams, because, and here also a big thank you to our local country communications teams and HR and IT. It's pretty important, of course, that the communications is localized and is happening. Like questions, as I mentioned before, I don't know my Windows login. Where can I get it from? But also, despite all the local contacts, if you are in doubt, you can always contact the United team at united@metro.de.
So many contact points so that you can't miss the information. Just click in and find out. And now we come to a section of our More podcast that I'm really looking forward to, our sound souvenir. Each guest brings along a specific sound that is characteristic for his or her new work situation. And now I'm excited. Elisabeth, let us hear, what sound did you bring? So let's see if I can identify what it is.
Alles klar, Kinder?
Aye, aye, Captain!
Geht das nicht lauter?
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh! Wer wohnt in der anderen? Das ganz tiefe Meer.
SpongeBob Schwammkopf!
Saugstachel gelb und porös und zwar sehr.
Okay, so what that sounds like
Well, you should know that. You also have a son. Well, I guess many people have recognized it's the title melody of SpongeBob. Because we say Hörspiel in German. Actually, it's a kind of podcast for kids. SpongeBob, the TV series, also is available as an audio. And my son is so much into these audio series. So I get a little bit crazy because I hear this melody not just once a day.
And what do you feel about it?
Well, I like it, but it gets on my nerves, to be honest.
Okay, great. Thank you, Elisabeth. That's really a great sound. And thank you for being here today and telling us how United is progressing. And thank you very much for the great sound souvenir. And you out there, think about which sound is special for you and maybe typical for your new way of working. It can be anything, the coffee machine, the church bells next door, birds chirping in the garden, or the whining kids maybe. Record it and feel free to post it in the comments on our More podcast page on United. Next time, we'll be talking about another exciting topic regarding our new ways of working, so stay tuned. More on that you can find, of course, on United. Thank you, Elisabeth. And thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And you out there, thank you for listening. Stay healthy. Bye-bye and take care.